Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Review. My name is Eric, and today we're going to take a look at the first appearance of one of Marvel's most vile, treacherous, and somewhat vain supervillains. Join me as Doom falls upon Marvel's first family in Fantastic Four number 5. This story was written by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and as I said in the intro, brings us the first ever appearance of the Fantastic Four's greatest villain, Dr. Doom. So let's walk the plank and dive right into this issue. The issue opens with a very ghastly image of Dr. Doom moving chess pieces that resemble the Fantastic Four across a chessboard. We see a few books on the table dealing with both science and the occult, and this gives us a very clear picture at the start that this is a villain unlike any others that the Fantastic Four have faced. Although I will say this opening scene reminded me a lot of the scene with Dark Helmet in Spaceballs, where he's playing with the different action figures in his room, and then Colonel Sanders comes in, but I digress on that. Doom declares that he is the only one that has the might and power to defeat the Four, and sets out in his helicopter to start his evil plan. We then quickly move over to the Baxter Building, where the Fantastic Four are having a relaxing evening on a seemingly stormy night. Johnny is reading what appears to be a Hulk magazine, which indicates to me that Stan and Jack didn't plan out a shared universe in their first few issues of this and other books, with the exception of Namor in the last issue. We've had a couple times where comic books have been used in order to stop Skrull invasions. We've had comic books that have ushered in the appearance of a new character, and here we have a comic book that is showing that a character that we've already reviewed is technically in a different universe than the one the Fantastic Four are operating in. Regardless, Johnny gives Ben a hard time for resembling the Hulk in the magazine that he's reading. Hulk snatches the book away from him. Instead of apologizing and simply asking for the book back like a normal, healthy person would, Johnny uses his powers to burn the magazine and the thing along with it, who then retaliates much like you would expect him to do. Reed responds in the way only he can by using his Elastic powers to once again restrain the thing, because this has to happen in every single Fantastic Four issues, while Sue grabs a nearby fire extinguisher and in the background puts out Johnny's flames. Reed once again questions why the four of them cannot stop fighting themselves when not fighting villains, and I for one agree with him. This family really needs to, I don't know if Doc Samson's operating yet in this universe, but we kind of really need to go and get some professional help for these guys. Definitely need to get them into a therapist of some sort and just work out these problems. Anyway, at this point, all power is drained from the Baxter Building, and Doom appears from on high, dropping a net over the building. Johnny attempts to burn through the net, but to no avail, as it's made of asbestos, which you're going to find a lot of references to, despite the fact that we now in comic culture know that it's very poisonous and cancerous, essentially, to humans. See a lot of references to asbestos being used to either help Johnny with controlling his powers and or helping to prevent him from using his powers in some cases. The team is now trapped by Doom, which is very important for the rest of the plot of this story, trust me. Doom announces his presence to the team, and Reed realizes who has captured them. Reed reveals that this is Victor Von Doom, which, if you have a last name with Von Doom, you probably are going to end up being a supervillain. Reed explains that Doom was a college student attending school with him many years ago and was into the occult and black magic, and that he had created a device at one point to communicate with the dead. One day when Doom attempted to use the device exploded and scarred Doom. To make matters worse, Doom was later expelled from school and then went on a journey of self-discovery to study black magic and other mystical arts. Reed declares that this is going to be the most challenging adventure the Fantastic Four have faced. As Doom declares that the Four is prisoners, he demands that the Four send up Sue as a hostage to assure that the men of the team aren't going to try anything funny, because apparently, as written back in these days, Sue really is only served as the hostage damsel in distress of this team. Pretty sure that over the last 5 issues, she's been held hostage at least 3 times. Now by Doom, before by Namor, and then by the Miracle Man in issue number 3. The Thing is against Sue being used as a hostage and attempts to break through the webbing, but getting shocked in the process. Sue then agrees to be Doom's hostage and climbs to the top of the building. Again, she climbs out the window that is covered by the nets, through the net, and on top of the building. She has now gone through, somehow phased through the impenetrable net that is preventing the Fantastic Four from taking any action against Doom. Regardless, she goes aboard the helicopter and essentially fulfills her usefulness in the first half of the story. This takes us to chapter 2 of the story, Back to the Past. Doom barks more orders to the men of the Fantastic Four. He demands that they come aboard his helicopter as well, and Johnny, wondering if Doom will kill him, is assured by Reed that they really have nothing to worry about, because it seems like Doom has some big giant plan for them. The 3 men exit the building, again through the impenetrable net, and make it to the roof. Doom puts them into a net bubble and flies them to a secret castle, which at this point is not in a designated location. We all know at this point that Doom is from Latveria, but that location isn't actually going to appear until Fantastic Four Annual #2, which isn't for another 2 years at this point. So this is pretty much an undisclosed location, just some random place that Doom is taking them in. Once inside, Doom tells the men of the mission that he wants them to go on. He apparently created a time machine and is interested in the treasure of Blackbeard the pirate. Everyone is so focused on the chance to go on a pirate adventure that no one is at all concerned that this evil genius, this would-be conqueror, somehow has a working, functional time machine just sitting in his basement. I mean, seriously, none of them are at all concerned of what diabolical evil that this could bring upon the world. The only one with any concern is the Thing, and he just wants to know why Doom doesn't use it on himself. Apparently he needs to operate the controls and make sure to bring the men of the Fantastic Four back once they have accomplished their mission. Regardless, the men agree, and Doom gives them 48 hours to complete the task. The floor beneath them then glows yellow. Apparently this is actually a very small time machine. It's only a small square area on the floor that kind of just envelopes them and sends them back to the past. But regardless, they're transported to the past instantly. At this point, Doom reveals that the treasure that he's wanting them to go after contains powerful gems that have great magical powers that he wants to use to rule the Earth. Again, why he just doesn't go back in time with the machine, regardless of who's operating it, and take over the world during a less advanced time is beyond me, but whatever. The men arrive in the past and immediately scare off some local pirates who just happen to have had a large pile of pirate clothes with them, which is very fortuitous for our cast of characters here, because they didn't even think about the fact that they would need to dress the part when going into the past. I then wonder if the pirates that they took the clothes from were part of some weird pirate performing theater troupe, because the clothes come complete with wigs and a strange raven-colored beard for Ben. Regardless, this will be apparent as to why I'm bringing this up later on in the issue. But the men then make their way to a local pub where no one has any issue with young, teenage, impressionable Johnny Storm, who I'm pretty sure even for 1962 is underage at this point, having a pint of local brew at the pub. Some of the other patrons decide that the three would make good pirates, probably based off their fancy new pirate clothes, and slip them a Mickey. The three men then wake up on the pirate ship at the beginning of part 3 of our story, on the trail of Blackbeard. The Thing wakes up first, realizes that he is in the below of the ship, and wastes no time crashing to the deck of the ship. He starts fighting his way through his would-be captors, breaks through the boat itself. Reed and Johnny stare in awe of the Thing's might before they too jump into the fight. Reed takes out a pirate in the crow's nest, while Johnny uses his powers to melt the pirate's swords. The fight is interrupted by cannon fire, and Reed sees a nearby boat that's been firing upon them. And Thing wrangles up the troops, basically gets his own pirate crew, and leads them in battle. These men are more than willing to follow him, since he's the big ghastly monster that's beating them up. Of course they're going to take his side. Johnny goes full-on flame-on mode and attacks the neighboring ship at the start of part 4 of the story that is simply titled Battle. I do find it funny at this point that we get a couple of different splash pages, including this one here, in this book. It doesn't seem like we had that many in previous issues, but I digress. So despite the events of the last issue fighting Giganto in the water against the Submariner, Johnny dives right into the ocean, full flame on mode, and creates a steam cloud to mask their ship, while Reed uses his elastic powers to form a bridge for the pirate crew led by the Thing to cross over. The Thing's ragtag group of swashbuckling pirates attack the enemy ship and declare him their captain. Based on his appearance, the crew starts to chant his name as Blackbeard, which was a shock to both Reed and Johnny, but hopefully not to the audience. Hopefully you saw this coming in earlier in the issue. Torch and Reed explore the enemy ship and find a chest aboard the boat, and determine that this must be the treasure that Doom wants. Reed decides to unload the treasure on the boat and loads the chest full of chains to fool Doom with once they get back to the present. I'm guessing that Doom's not going to just open the chest. He's going to want to pick it up first just to make sure it's in there, and he'll be fine with the weight limit. Reed and Johnny prepare for the return trip home, and this is where the true villain of the story emerges. Ben, having decided that the pirate life is truly for him, turns on his teammates. Once again, going with our theme from the last issue of Fantastic Four, as well as the first issue of The Incredible Hulk, that basically shows that a makeover can truly be a life-changing experience for men. The pirate crew capture Reed and Johnny to cast them out into the ocean on a life raft, when suddenly a twister appears off the bow as though the plot demanded it. The twister destroys the boat, casting our heroes and Ben out into the sea. Reed manages to find and save Johnny and bring him up to the shore of some uncharted desert isle, where they find Ben sobbing. Realizing that he got carried away with being accepted by the pirates, he cast off his friendship with Reed and Johnny to join the pirates and live his life in the past. At this point, poor Ben really needs to form a support group with the Mole Man and the Gargoyle. I mean, these guys really just want to be loved by a society that apparently judges based on appearance. Anywho, Johnny finds the treasure chest as well washed up on the shore, and at this point the 48 hours is apparently up that Doom gave them, and he brings the men back to the present. Part 5 of the story, The Vengeance of Doom, opens with the men being brought back to the present. The square time machine portal opens up around them, with Doom congratulating them on finding the treasure. Reed presents the chest to Doom, who begins to monologue about how the gems used to belong to Merlin the Magician, and that he gave them magical powers that Doom now plans to use to conquer the world. Johnny is now concerned that as the real gems were scattered across the ocean, Namor may or will find them at some point. Either he has in the past or will in the future. Reed assures Johnny that they will be ready for the eventuality if it comes about, while Doom discovers that the chest is full of chains. Ben attacks him and finally gets to smash one of the villains in these stories. Unfortunately, or fortunately depending on who you're talking to, this was the first appearance also of a Doombot. These are mechanical soldiers of Doom that come up periodically throughout many different stories throughout the years, often as like a decoy or other aspect. But Doom then appears on a TV monitor and punishes the men of the Fantastic Four for deceiving him, and starts to remove the air from the chamber that they are in. Doom, who has been hidden away with Sue, who, yes, is still in this issue, believe it or not, he's concentrating on his machinery and whatever he's doing with the Fantastic Four, and when he's not looking, Sue manages to fiddle and mess with the machines in a way that causes an explosion. She then makes her way through the castle tunnels, gets to the men, and opens the door and allows the air to come in and saves their life. Reed uses his elastic powers to go through the bars to the outside of the castle, and he manages to grab onto a boulder while attaching the lower half of himself to the bars and manages to pull the wall open. Johnny then uses his flame powers to make a bridge of glass on the water. He somehow is able to superheat, boil somehow the water to form a glass bridge because Stan Lee science, I don't know. Johnny then sets fire to the stone castle, and Doom is encouraging this because he doesn't want the Fantastic Four to learn about the other secrets hiding in there, like time travel. He then escapes using a jetpack, which is pretty cool for this day and age. It's the first time anybody in a Marvel comic has used a jetpack, it seems, and he's able to outfly the Human Torch and just leave him choking in his dust. Reed then vows that they will track down Doom as well as the Submariner, because we have to not forget about him in this issue, and to bring them to justice. And that is the end of this issue. Spoiler alert for fans of both Doom and Namor. We've seen Doom here, and we've got a lot of references in this issue to Namor. Kind of actually the first indications of serialized format for these comics. But both Doom and Namor will actually be here next episode. These two villains are going to be teaming up in the very next issue of Fantastic Four, so keep an eye out on the review of that issue in the next few weeks. So tell me what your favorite part of the issue was. Were you excited for the first appearance of Dr. Doom to the Marvel Universe? Do you like the fact that Ben is Blackbeard in the good old 616 universe? Do you think he was kind of a jerk in this issue for wanting to betray his teammates, or were you as excited as I was for Sue to finally serve some purpose and save someone in this series? Let me know what your favorite part was in the comments below. And I'd like to thank you guys for tuning into this episode of The Comic Review. If you want to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell so that way you're notified of any future reviews that we do on the channel. And again, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys in the next review. Later.